Here we go. The top level difficulty example. We need to graph this ellipse. We call this the general form when it's all multiplied out. Part C is 25x squared plus 4y squared minus 300x plus 56y plus 996 equals 0. We needed to get it to look like the standard form before we can identify the parts and then graph. Okay, well, we saw similar cases here when we looked at circles, right? We saw the kind of the same style with parabolas. The trick is going to be completing the square. And it's going to take pretty much the same form, really similar to the way we did that circle, back in 11.1. So we want to group x's, we want to group the y's, and we want to move the constant to the other side. So here's what we mean. Put the x's next to each other and throw some parentheses on them. Same thing with the y's, parentheses, and then we're going to subtract that 996. Sorry, my camera is trying to find its focus. I think it needs more on the screen to keep it steady. All right, so here we go. We put the x's next to each other with a set of parentheses, plus there's the y's with the parentheses, and we've subtracted our constant to the other side. Now, when it comes to ellipses and completing the square, there is always going to be one more step before we can start adding things, and looking at the middle number and that sort of stuff. You notice that in both cases, there is a coefficient on the square. There's 25 here and there's 4 here. So if you remember from parabolas, we had a case where there was a number there in front of the square. You need to factor that out. So we're going to factor the 25 outside the parentheses, and the same with the 4. Factor coefficients of x squared and y squared. Just the number only, just the coefficient we factor. So here's what that would look like. So we take the 25 out. What would that mean for the 300? Well, you see it there. When the 25 comes out, that becomes a 12. Why is that? Well, because if the 25 was to distribute back, 25 times 12 would give you the 300. Similar with the 4, when the 4 factors out, leaves us with y squared, but then the 56, we need to factor it from that also. Well, 4 turns out times 14 gives you the 56. And you could just divide, right? 56 divided by 4 to figure out what that number is. Okay, now we're ready. Once those coefficients are factored out, now we can complete the square. So we're going to think, okay, for these x's, I see a 12. So what should we add on inside? And for the y's, I see a 14. So what should we add on inside? Well, the 12, remember to always divide by 2 and then square. So we should add 36. And for the 14, divided by 2 is 7. So we should add on 49. And quite a long statement here. Let's talk through this one. This is could be the most difficult, conceptually challenging step in the whole thing. We've added the 36. Perfect. We've added the 49. Perfect. So we're getting set up to put this thing in standard form. But of course, if we add 36 here and we add 49 here, we need to balance those things out on the other side. But if we add 36 we didn't really add 36 to the left side because it was inside parentheses. We really added 25 times 36, since that 25 would multiply out. So on the other side, I'm going to put plus 25 times 36. I kind of like writing it this way because it's really clear where that came from. 25 times 36. Of course, you could just write what the number is. And similarly here, when I added the 49, because it's inside the parentheses and that's being multiplied by 4, I actually added 4 times 49 to the left side. So I need to balance that with plus 4 times 49. Okay, so completing the square, very technical. There's only one way to do it. We can't shift around these steps. Mathematically, it's just not going to work that way. It's like, gears inside of a puzzle that have to click together in just a certain order and in a certain way. But we've now been doing this for a few sections, so maybe it's kind of, you're starting to get the hang of it. We're going to see more of it when we talk about hyperbolas in the next section. Lots of completing the square in this chapter. Okay, now it's time to clean it up. So we can just simplify this whole right side, and then we will factor both sets of parentheses, and that's going to lead us to this. So the 25 just comes down. This factored x minus 6 squared. The plus 4 just comes down. This factored y plus 7 squared. And when you simplify that right side, it all works out actually very nicely. It is 100. Okay, we're almost there. It's a couple lines left. This looks very much like the way part B started. We've got this thing squared, these coefficients, and a 100. We need to make this a 1. So we're going to divide all three parts by 100. Okay. So really we're dividing both sides by 100, but we can go ahead and just say each one of these is divided by 100. We saw that in the last problem. Of course, this will give us the 1 that we're looking for. And we'll also need to reduce over here. So 25 over 100, 4 over 100, that would reduce to this. X minus 6 squared over 4 plus y plus 7 squared over 25 equals 1. And again, you see that theme of, the 25 jumping over here and the 4 jumping over there. Very, very common to see that sort of thing. You might even realize, oh, well, because 25 times 4 is 100. And so, okay, anyway, I'm going probably too deep into that. We got our standard form. So let's identify the H, the K, the A, and the B. Here they are. The center, okay. 6 is the x-coordinate. -7 is the y-coordinate. Remember, it's always the opposite of what you see in the equation. So if we're subtracting, it's actually a positive. If we're adding, it's actually a negative. We see the 4 here under the x, so that means A is 2. And the 25 under the y means B is 5. And all right, let's graph it. I'm going to pull this up. Grab my scratch paper here. I'm actually going to put my XY plane a little bit off center because I want to make sure I have enough space. So I'm putting my XY plane down this way. Oh, you know what? I think I did that. I think I did that wrong because my center is going to be 6, -7, and I was thinking of it backwards. Let's see. Can I? Oh, okay, perfect. That'll work. So my my center saved it. My center is 6, so that's 2, 4, 6, -7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 right there. A is 2, so I move out horizontally. B is 5. There's my B. We get another tall, thin ellipse, but now it's centered down below in quadrant 4, something like that. Okay. Well, that does it for 11.3. Go check out the homework. See you later.